dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Today, the Biden administration took steps to try and unblock the logjam of consumer products that are stuck at U.S. ports. The shipping bottleneck is leading to rising prices, which threatens the holiday shopping season. The Commerce Department says online purchases surged 39% in the first quarter of this year, driven by the COVID pandemic. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
With port problems boiling over off the coast of California, President Biden announced new efforts to address the logjam after meeting with industry leaders.
Today, we have some good news. They're going to help speed up the delivery of goods all across America.
The Port of Los Angeles says it will expand to 24/7 operations, and some of the nation's biggest shippers and retailers are committing to expanding their hours too, including UPS, FedEx, and Walmart.
This is an important step to be taking today.
John Drake, the VP of Supply Chain Policy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, classifies the current supply chain issues as a crisis.
I think if this issue is not addressed, the American consumer is going to see price increases across the board. The business community can't simply continue to absorb the types of increases in transportation costs.
The country is also dealing with a truck driver shortage. The Department of Transportation says it's working with states to get trucking licenses out faster.
The increased demand for goods combined with disruptions has increased the cost of goods just ahead of the holiday shopping season.
I don't see this challenge being fully behind us until the end of next year and possibly into 2023.
A new report from the Labor Department shows inflation rose again in September. The Consumer Price Index is now 5.4% higher this year compared to last. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
This week, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told CBS News she believes prices will eventually return to normal once the supply chain issues are resolved. Congress is set to hold a hearing later this month about climate misinformation. Executives from ExxonMobil, BP, Chevron, Shell Oil, the American Petroleum Institute, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce are all set to testify on October 28th. The House Oversight Committee is investigating how oil companies created confusion about the cause of climate change. The hearing comes as Congress works to pass massive climate and clean energy reform, and just days before world leaders are set to meet for the UN Climate Conference. The SOAR Summit continues in Corbin. One part of the summit are several breakout sessions. Executive Director Colby Hall says those are critical pieces of the event, and those sessions are focused on problems, issues, and topics facing just about every community across eastern Kentucky.
Include conversations around securing more grant funding as a region, creating more nurses in eastern Kentucky to fill employment gaps at local hospitals and healthcare facilities, extending and expanding remote work gains in eastern Kentucky.
The grant and project writing breakout session ended at 3 o'clock. One other session is addressing the nursing shortage. We will have much more on some of these sessions and the SOAR Summit coming up tonight at 6 and 11. Another emotional day in the trial against Jacob Heil. Today, the arresting officer and a witness who called 911 were on the stand, and jurors ended their day outside the courtroom with a look at the scene. Heil is charged with reckless homicide after prosecutors say he hit 4-year-old Marco Shimwell with his car as the family was leaving a UK football game. Heil admitted to officers he had 2 beers, but he had 2 beers before the crash that eventually killed Marco.
We continue to see some cloudy skies out there as we work through the evening hours. We've got plenty more clouds too on the way as we head into the end, I should say, of the work week. I-64 at Moorhead, we cleared out for a little bit. In fact, we're seeing a little more blue sky out there right now before the return of some of those showers out there a little later on this week. It looks rather gloomy from our Buffalo Mountain camera here in Perry County, sitting at 75. Few showers out there right now, but you see where they are because those temperatures a little bit lower. Mid-70s for most, but Somerset sitting at 72 and Williamsburg checking in at 68. You see where the deeper moisture is too, with those dew points near 70 bringing in some of that moisture. You see what we're dealing with some of those showers getting going across the Cumberland Valley, moving across parts of Pulaski into Laurel and Rockcastle counties over the next little bit. If those hold together, we could see a few more into places like Jackson, Owsley, Estill, and Lee counties before too long. So that's why you want to keep that WIMT weather app handy. Most of us stay dry, but you could catch a shower or two tonight as we fall through the 70s and into just the middle 60s overnight. You know, pretty soon those numbers are going to be high temperatures for us, and I'll have the details on just when coming up in just a bit. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Back in early September, FEMA aid was denied to residents in Nicholas County who are trying to recover from severe flash flooding. Those homeowners are still waiting for federal aid as an appeal takes place, but today the Kentucky Realtors Association stepped in to give grants to several families. The Foster family says that while $1,000 may not seem like a lot to some people, this money will go a long way in helping them get their life back to some normalcy.
It's going to be a lot. It's like $10,000 to me today, I'll tell you right now. Anything's a blessing, and this is a real big blessing, you know. I owe some mortgage on my house, and this will help go toward it, and just every little bit, anything helps.
The Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors also pitched in money to help with these grants to help families. Traffic will soon flow both ways at the Canadian border again. Starting next month, the United States will allow vaccinated travelers to enter at its northern and southern borders for non-essential activities like family visits and tourism. A decision from the FDA and CDC on potential boosters, meanwhile, from Moderna and J&J is expected in the coming days, and the government says it is prepared for a rollout. Earlier this year, Baptist health officials in Louisville asked employees to go out and take photos of local interests such as buildings, landscapes, cityscapes, and landmarks. The goal was to get a handful of pictures, but they received more than 134 entries for a contest. The photos were displayed in the hospital cafeteria. Employees voted during a 2-week period for their favorite photos, with a winner picked today.
Well, one of the patients came in and told me there was a rainbow outside. So after I got through with her, I went out, of course had my phone. I actually think I forgot it and come back and got it and went back. And it was just gorgeous.
I'm guessing that was the winning photo there. You will find the winning photos hanging in a hallway on the hospital's first floor. Well, right now, when agencies seize animals from possible abuse situations, they have to keep them and pay for their care until the criminal proceedings are over. A pre-filed Kentucky bill, though, would change that. If passed, owners would have to pay the boarding and vet bills until their trial is over, or give up their animals if they do not have the money. A bill like this would be beneficial for small rescue shelters.
Many of our small, rural, economically challenged counties can't afford it. They can't afford a big seizure. But this bill would take that pressure off of them and allow them to go in and uphold our law.
Kentucky is one of 12 states that does not have a law like this on the books. Lawmakers tried to pass a similar bill last year, but it never got a hearing. Mount Sterling's oldest running fall festival is returning this year. Court Days is happening this weekend. Organizers canceled it last year because of COVID, but Court Days will now shut down downtown Mount Sterling for 4 days. The festival started back in the 18th century and has evolved since then. Tracy Pierce is the tourism director in Mount Sterling and says that this year it will take another step forward.
We have 2 stages. We normally have only had one. This year we said all day Saturday, all day Sunday, we're going to have live music and a lot of extra fun. We have a Court Day Express train that'll be driving through town.
Pierce says there will also be a mullet contest on Saturday and a square dance on Sunday. One Floyd County teacher is showing her true colors by writing about a rainbow kitty, that is. WIMT's Jordan Mullins has more from author and teacher Dominique Messer about what inspired her to write her new book, Rainbow Kitty, and what she hopes children of all ages can learn from the book and her accomplishment.
Dominique Messer, a Betsy Lane High School language arts teacher, achieved her lifelong dream of becoming an author and recently written, illustrated, and published her first children's book, titled Rainbow Kitty. and hopes to be an inspiration to her students.
I just want to instill this idea in them that they can be anything they want to be. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, where you graduate from, what state you're in. You can accomplish big things as long as you put forth effort.
Inspired by her 4-year-old stepdaughter Lucy, she set out to create an origin for the Kitty's colors while telling a touching daddy-daughter relationship story.
One day I asked her, I said, Lucy, where did Rainbow Kitty's rainbow colors come from? And she said, I don't know. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give you and this cat the idea of those colors and where they came from, and that's how the story was born.
Even if it is for children, the book inspires both students and faculty.
For her students to be able to see that their teacher is a published author, you know, if she can do it, they can do it.
Giving students from all walks of life something to aspire to be.
That is just a wonderful, inspirational thing to have for your students and something to aspire to.
And a chance to realize their full potential and unleash their true Bobcat colors. In Floyd County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Messer says she plans to make the book a series and has a Christmas-themed book in the works. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, offering a unique array of items on a board is a new business in Pikeville. We'll tell you about the owner's journey to opening up her shop.
And it's been a warm week so far, but showers and fall weather are on the way. I'll have those details straight ahead.